Hello and welcome, guys. My name is Franek Przyradzki. I'm manager at Deepspot, and this is first official Deepspot briefing for those interested in taking part in Deepspot Challenge competition. With me here is Tomasz Nitas, who is the chief of our freediving team and head judge and inventor of this competition. Now we'll explain you what Deepspot Challenge is all about.
Generally, it's about diving to a certain depth, go back to the surface, but not to resurface, but to stay close to the water, to the surface, in so-called static zone, which is 2 meters from the surface, and to do as long dive as possible.
So we're going to cover the points which may interest you as a person who wants to take part in this competition.
So first, you have to be at least 18 years old. You need to deliver a medical certificate stating that you are capable of doing free diving, and it should be issued not later than 12 months before the competition. And one of 3 conditions.
You need to be certified as a performance freediver in SSI or equivalent in any other recognized agency, which means you have to have formally done training diving to depths up to 40 meters.
Or deeper. Or if you don't have the certificate, it's okay with us if you performed a dive to the depth at least 45 meters in AIDA or CMAS competition.
So these are one of the 3. Yes, either do a course or take part in the competition.
Yes, or if you haven't got any of these 2, then you need to perform a clean dive to 44 meters at Deepspot with a Deepspot instructor, but this dive should be done before the start of the competition. It means that it has to be done before the first day of a competition, and the first day of competition is training day. So
yes,
it must to be done before.
This way we know you are capable of performing such dive safely, because safety is our main concern during competition.
And remember that you need to fulfill only one of these conditions. And in case of a non-profi group, the requirements are
certificate as a free diver, so that the basic level that goes up to 20 meters, or competition obviously is okay.
To 20 meters.
To 20 meters, yeah. Or dive with our instructor to 20 meters ahead of the competition.
Yeah.
Yes, so these are the most important requirements. Obviously, you have to sign up, enroll, pay the fee, and so on. This you'll always find on our dedicated webpage. As for categories, we have division in profi and non-profi group. They differ mostly in the depth of the dive. The profi group dives to 44 meters, the non-profi dives to 20 meters. And then there's division male and female. So we can go to discipline description. There is a drawing here. This describes situation when the dive is conducted to 44 meters. So it's actually a picture for a profi group. Non-profi would be different only in the depth of the 2 lines in start zone.
Okay, so let's start with the starting procedure, as it is different from any other competitions. As in case of Deepspot challenge, you need to start before the top time. Yeah, there is a countdown, similar, actually the same as in case of CMAS competitions. So we start with 3 minutes, then 2 minutes, and we go to top time. And there is counting up to 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And you need to start before the top time and not later than after 30 seconds after top time, as when you are disqualified.
So the idea behind this, just to explain, is that the two competitors start at once, and we want to measure time of their breath hold so they can compete with each other already during that competition. And keep in mind that all your body has to be submerged by the top time, not only airways.
Yeah, and that is very important difference comparing to other competitions. That the start of a dive is counted after submerging all parts of your body underwater. Yeah, so it is not just submerging your airways.
Then-
so the
yeah.
important thing is to start as close as possible to top time, but not later than top time.
And this you can practice during your training. As Anita said, it's different than any other competition. Then you start your dive, but you will notice that we do measure time of your dive as you go down and back up.
Yeah. So you go down, then you take the tag which is attached to the bottom plate, and you go back. And very important point is about timing, about when you go back to the static zone, so 2 meters from the surface. This is because of safety reasons. We don't want a competitor who blacks out at 44 meters. And that is why competitors are obliged to go back to static zone not later than 3 minutes after top time.
And this is something we highly recommend you to practice ahead of competition, since it seems like a long time, but it does cause trouble to our competitors. Sometimes they tend to overstay. For a profi group, it's 3 minutes. For non-profi, it's
2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Yeah.
This is the difference between two
And
categories.
the thing is that if you are a proficient freediver, you may feel very comfortable when being underwater, and you may not notice how the time is going. And it happened many times that really top-level athletes were disqualified
or at
because
least
they-
struggle because they
yeah, because they didn't manage to go to static zone before 3 minutes or 2 minutes in case of non-profit group.
You will hear the countdown from 10 seconds until the time you are supposed to reach the 2-meter area, the static zone. But it's not, the 10 seconds are not enough if you are at the actual bottom. Yes.
Yeah.
So this is something that definitely needs practice and preparation for this specific competition.
Yeah, and remember, I would like to stress this again, as we have underwater speakers, and you will hear a countdown 10 seconds, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then 3 minutes.
Or 2 minutes in
Or
non-profit.
two, and if you are late, sorry, you are disqualified.
Yeah. As for a thing you may notice if you are in a profi group, there will be marks on the rope at around 24
20,
meters,
yeah,
22,
something.
24 meters. That will feel exactly like the static zone that you're supposed to reach at the close to the surface. So as you go down, you can feel it with your hand that there is a tape signaling this this depth. It's obviously not the static zone, not there, but you'll get the idea how it feels afterwards on your way up. So this is something you may not expect if you don't know what it is. As for non-profi group, there will be no such thing because the rope goes down to 20 meters, so you will feel the static zone as you prepare for your start.
Okay. And so you go to the static zone, and then you need to stay for as long as you can. And the important thing is that when you are approaching the static zone and you are close to the limit of the time, yeah, you need to grab the rope in the static zone like that before 2 or 3 minutes count, yeah. And then you need to stay in this area.
Submerged.
Submerged. You cannot leave this area. So in case you go below this static zone, the static zone, you need to keep at least one hand like that in the static zone. Yeah. And I would like to stress one important factor, as when you are resurfacing, we are stopping the stoppers, the timers, when any part of your body is on the surface. So it is not resurfacing your airways, but any part of your body. And what happens sometimes, that the freediver is in that position and he's approaching the surface as he wants to be as close to the surface as possible when he wants to resurface. And then the tip of his head is actually on the surface. He or she doesn't feel it. And then actually the timers are stopped. And what else? The time for surface protocol starts. So if he stays, let's say, 30 seconds in this position, for sure he will be disqualified.
So guys and girls, keep in mind any ponytails or stuff like that. This is again something that you should be practicing, because it's not the airways that count, but any part of your body
and
at this moment.
Your
just like
hair
when you start.
Is also part of your body. So we recommend to use swim caps.
Yeah.
Okay.
For this reason.
Okay. So,
then you do the surface protocol to the judges, the one that we will describe directly to the competitors who come here. It's the regular one.
The regular one, which is practiced in CMAS competition. So it's very simple. You just need to give the OK sign to the judge. You don't have to take off the facial equipment. You don't have to say, I'm OK. Just this sign to the judge. And of course, you cannot submerge your airways before the judge gives you the card.
Right. So now the penalties and DSQs that we come across, we've mentioned already some. So submerging too late past the top time.
I mean, after 30, later than 30 seconds after top time, and this actually does not happen.
Yeah, but that would be DSQ. But the penalty points you get for every second.
But if you submerge after top time, then you are getting very painful penalty points.
So it's generally better to be a little bit earlier than too late. This is the strategy for you in this competition. Then the other obvious problem that might occur is if you lose a tag. You get the penalty for that, but it's not DSQ. We have videos, you have a computer, so we are able to state that you were there, but you should bring the tag and show it to the judge.
And of course, if you don't have the tag, the data is taken from official computer, and it is rounded down to the full meter.
Okay.
It's like in any other competition. So penalty points. That's it for penalty points. About disqualification. So if you are late, if you start too late, if you are late in static zone, and of course, if after resurfacing you have a blackout or underwater blackout, it's obvious. If you don't manage to perform the surface protocol in 20 seconds time frame, and of course, if you submerge your airways before the verdict of the judge.
So to make things clear, we want you to perform safe and healthy dive without any signs of LMC and hypoxia, generally speaking, and that's when you get your white card when following all these procedures. Frequently asked questions and mistakes that people do. We covered most of them, but what we can sum up after a few additions that we've already made is that the blackouts are actually not occurring that often. We have, I think, 3% rate of blackouts in our competition. For example, the bigger problem that people underestimate is getting late to the start zone. So it's like 11% of competitors had problem with making it on time. So keep in mind the schedule and the general problems that occur and happen also to very experienced competitors is that the rules here are like in any other freediving competition, but there are small differences that we just covered. So you do have to practice at least a little bit for this specific competition, meaning keeping up the time, this 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and doing the proper descent and proper ascent, resurfacing and submerging. All these things are slightly different than elsewhere, therefore you have to keep that in mind and have a few training sessions so you are prepared for those conditions.
And there is one thing we didn't cover actually, is that you can descend and ascend in any way you want.
Which sometimes can look very entertaining for the viewers in the pool.
So you can do free immersion, you can do constant weight, you can do free immersion, but with fins on. It is still okay. The only thing you cannot do, you cannot take weights. Weights are actually forbidden in this competition, so you cannot take weights and leave them at the bottom. Wetsuit is not allowed. Wetsuit is not allowed.
Therefore, all of you will have significantly less buoyancy than in normal sea conditions because it's fresh water and no wetsuit. The water temperature is anywhere around 32 degrees Celsius. There are plenty of safety divers, including safeties with DPV. Obviously the protocols are recorded as with any other competition. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask them to Deepspot team.
Actually, a few days before the competition, we are going to do online briefing. So during this briefing, you can ask questions.
Yes.
And we'll answer to all of them.
And as we did cover here the most important topics, but obviously not all, like we didn't cover the topic of protest and so on, I highly recommend if you are decided you sign up for the competition, do read the regulations so you know where you are. If you then have any questions, to ask them here. We are here to help you. And we are looking forward to do this competition with you guys. See you at Deepspot Challenge. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you.